Hello and welcome to today's show. Um, I hope you have had a great week, and as always, I am joined by my friend Shadow. You may notice that um, the whole scene looks completely different to what it normally does. Um, that's partially because we've been having some technical difficulties with Zoom. Normally, both of our cameras come through without any issues. This time, I'm having to give you guys my face um, through the same camera, but just directly into Streamlabs. So that's why we're not on the same um, part of the screen, as it were. Um, but we do have all of our social media stuff up on a screen now. Those things took me forever to make. Um, so, Shadow, once we're done, if you take a look and see how it's turned out, I think you might like them. Um, that said, do you want to give yourself a quick plug? Awesome. So, let me just get my notes up. Okay, the first thing I wanted to talk about, um, I was hoping to get my entire dis- display in shot here, which it would have been had Zoom worked. Um, I got the entire 7 series box set of Malcolm in the Middle on DVD, and that just came today. I have been watching it on Disney Plus, however, so you might be wondering why did I buy the box set if it's on there? Pure and simple. Purely because you get extras on the DVDs that you don't get on the streaming, like commentaries, um, behind the scenes stuff. Um, Granted, most of that. Go on. I'm glad that you brought that up because that's one of the ones that I want to talk about. So go on, go on. Mhm. Yep, you can. It's just as um Dewey is running to her, and she's running to them to like scold them. Um, no pun intended there with the whole dress being on fire thing. But yeah, that's kind of where it is. It's yeah. Shadow, can you angle your camera down a bit? Just we can not only just about see your forehead. Much better. Yeah. So I bought the box set, and long and the short of it is I'm buying the Doctor Who box sets as and when they come out. You know, the season sets of the classic Who. Um, Okay, I'm not sure whether I want that. I mean, I like him. He's the best of the new Who, like for sure. But I'm all for them having their own run, and that's it. You know, yes, bring them back for a special, but not as the main person again. Um, anyway, as I was saying, um, I've been buying the season sets as and when they come out. I had season 14 of the classic run, which is one of Tom Baker's seasons, and I decided to put that into CEX, and I got some store credit for it, and I used the store credit to buy Malcolm in the Middle, and I do plan to repurchase the season 14, but in the slimmer packaging. Just to give you an example, this is season 17, and you see how wide that is? It's roughly about the size of a VHS box, which, to be fair, we're the last generation that would like see that as a thing. Um, but the slimmed down packaging for the second release of season 14 is half this, which means that it's going to take up half the amount of shelf space, which is very important. So, yeah, technically I'm double dipping on the box sets, but if I'm swapping out the big boxes for the small boxes and I use them most of the time to offset repaying for the same set, then it's not as bad. Obviously, this time I chose to go for buying the Malcolm in the Middle set, and part of the reason why I done that was, even though it's DVD only, it was still quite an expensive set. Take a guess how much you think that it was for all 7 seasons. Bear in mind that it's DVD. Second hand. You were closer with your guess for the new. I got this off CEX from their website. Without the store credit, it would have cost me £50. With the store credit, I got it for £17 of like actual money. So it's very overpriced for the dead format, really, because who really cares about DVD nowadays, you know? Never mind the fact that it's physical media in the first place, but it just goes to show a show like that isn't losing its value like so many other things do. Um, so anyway, that to one side. Um, I did say that there were some episodes that I was wanting to talk about. I have watched it on Disney Plus, and I don't have any issues with the quality on there like some people do. Um, I don't really see what their issues is because the show was actually pre-planned to be widescreen safe. Um, like they knew that stuff was happening. So I don't really see why people hate on the Disney prints, if you can call it that. Um, anyway, the first episode that I wanted to talk about was the red dress episode. um, and one of the things, go on. Kind of. You more added to it because I wasn't going to mention about that one mistake that they left in. Um, so yes, they left that mistake in. But what I like about this one is the boys have to work together against the mum who the actress who plays the mum I think does a fantastic job. Like yes, she's over the top, but that's kind of the point because you're seeing the world through. It's supposed to be through Amalgam's eyes throughout. So of course everything's over the top. Um, say that again. Well, now you know why she is. It's because you're seeing what she's like through his eyes, and that's kind of why. But they all have to work together, and like, because neither one of them actually burnt the dress. We don't find out until the end how the dress got burned in the first place, because the ending we see Hal um, accidentally setting something else on fire, and his closing line is, "Oh, not again," implying that he was the one that burnt the dress. But the entire episode, he's just out on the meal that they're supposed to be having, and she's so fixated on punishing the boys and doesn't get anywhere. And I just think that that's a really great episode. It's not Modern Family, is it? I haven't, but I get the feeling that so many shows try to copy this show. Um, especially especially the middle. That show is just like a carbon copy of Malcolm in the Middle. But anyway, Modern Family. Mhm.
Say it was them just so they could get Christmas back, but then they said they were going to do the I'm Spartacus type thing, but they tricked him, and then um, but and then eventually he says, "No, I didn't do it." So the tree went back upstairs again,
One
and then
moment. I just want to apologise. I just noticed
spoil.
that the audio for you wasn't coming through to the live stream. I've now corrected that, so I apologise for
Uh,
the 20 minutes or so that we've gone where nobody but me has been able to hear what you've said.
okay,
Today's not a good day.
I'll go back to what I said. So with the red dress of Malcolm in the middle, the just so everything can make sense, there's a scene where they left a mistake in, but they didn't notice when they came to the final edit, and it's where Dewey comes running through to the kitchen shouting "No, no, no!" But you can clearly see one of the prop guys handing Lois the red dress from a bucket at the side in one of the side sets. So that now that conversation might make a bit sense to everyone.
Sorry about it being
And
very choppy with having to piece bits from what I've said, and yeah, but let's just
and then
keep moving.
and then I said that reminded me of an episode of Modern Family where it's a Christmas special, and that the episode starts with um, one of the families sofa getting burnt, and it's like the shape of a cigarette burn, and they try and get the kids to admit which one of them was smoking and burnt the couch, but none of them admitted to it. So they said Christmas is cancelled, and they unpacked the tree and put it away until one of them admitted to everyone that it was one of them who burnt the tree. And then one of them, they were going to do like an "I'm Spartacus" type thing and try to manipulate the younger one into saying it was them, but in actual fact, they weren't going to admit to it themselves. And then he retracted his admission, and then one by one they do admit, they say that it's them, but it turns out it was neither of them. But it was actually um, the light shining through the window hitting off one of the Christmas tree decorations, which burnt the Christmas couch, the Christmas couch, the couch. So
Fair
it's none of
enough.
them who burnt the tree.
Um, I'll
So
just
it's kind.
I'll just go through my next two episodes fairly quickly. Just because of how long it's took us so far. Um, the next one that I want to talk about is the roller skates episode, where Malcolm wants to learn to skate, and all of his brothers have learned, but Hal, who's the father, um, he's kind of obsessive about it because he used to do it apparently, um, and he's as is the norm. He's over the top and kind of goofy, um, but you get a great kind of montage of um, learning to skate, which is something I've never done, but it looks so much fun. And um, plus, you get to see um, what's the name of the actor who plays Hal? The name's gone completely out my head.
Oh, I can look it up to you right now. Um,
Bryan Cranston.
yeah. What is it, Bryan Cranston?
Yeah,
Yeah, all right, yeah.
um, I'm almost
Uh,
certain that it is.
yeah,
Um,
it's How Malcolm Middle is played by Bryan Cranston, the guy who took the part away from somebody with a disability in The Upside. Was it The Upside?
I didn't know Hal was supposed to be disabled.
No, not Hal. No, the actor. He played a disabled character in The Upside. Was
Oh
it The
right,
Upside?
okay. I did not know that. Um, we will get onto the disability representation in the show at some point, because I will be talking more about this every week going forward. Um, but yeah, we get to see him wearing very sparkly, kind of tight jumpsuit, and he looks really good in it. I really must say that. Um, Not that I think he's all that good looking. Um, Apart from that, but he looks
Hmm.
like he got in shape for it. I'll say that much. Um, and then the next one I want to talk about is the water park episode, which is the season finale. And of course, for me, this is the B. Arthur episode because it's the one where Dewey's left behind and um, B. Arthur, who I don't think her character is ever named, so I will just refer to her as B going forward. She is very strict with him, and they go from him barely being able to do anything to helping her sort buttons out. Why she had them with her when it wasn't her house that she was looking at. But we'll just gloss over that. Um, and then next thing you know, she's um, dancing and having fun, and then it's implied that she's dead. Then that's kind of where the
Okay.
the season ends. Um, and this was one of her final roles as well, so that's kind of bad timing, foreshadowing kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But that said, um, to me, she was very much a toned down version of Dorothy from the Golden Girls because it's the only thing I've really seen her in. I know she was in Maud like years ago, and I've never seen it, but I've seen clips, and it just makes me think it's the same character that she's just played, just with a different name and stuff. Like
Yeah.
it sounds awful, but um, I think she's a bit of a one-trick pony. You know, which
Hmm.
nothing wrong with that because she clearly made a living out of it. But like people seem to put her on a pedestal because the Golden Girls died with her leaving because they tried to keep going without her, um, calling it the Golden Palace, which failed. Um, but anyway, um, yeah, that's kind of all I really want to say about those
I've,
three episodes. But
one of
overall,
one. I
go
was
on.
going to say one of the one. Have you seen the episode where Dewey regresses?
I have, yes. I don't remember what season that is, so
Neither do
when I
I.
get to that season, I'll be talking about it then.
All right. Okay. I'll leave it for then.
Okay, cool. Um, yeah. So you may have noticed that I've been referring to Shadow quite a lot through this episode. Um, and yet his YouTube is Arthur's Rolling Vlog. Um, do you want to go into why I've been referring to you as Shadow now, or
Not really. No. I'm only joking. Of course I will.
well, we can do that
I,
now, or we can do it right at the end.
no,
So
I'll talk about it now. I, but I should. It's a shame I can't see your face when I was trying to wind you up a bit there. But yes, of course, I'll talk about it now. Um,
okay,
so uh, I revealed this part of me, but it's really got to do with my identity, and I revealed this on my YouTube channel in oh I think it was like just before the pandemic started. Would you think, or was it? late 2019.
I think
It
it
might have
was.
been late.
I think it was as the pandemic hit.
Yes. So um, I'm part. I identify and I'm a part. I identify and I am a part of a community um, that I identify as a Therian and otherkin. Now, you might be asking, what is Therian and what is otherkin? Now, being Therian means you. There's two different kinds of Therians. There is a spiritual Therian, and then there is a psychological Therian.
And
Now,
can I just jump in and say I'm more of the spiritual side of it, and you're more
no,
of.
I'm spiritual. No, I'm spiritual.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
fully spiritual. Yeah,
Okay, just the way that you talk about it to me, it comes across as you're kind of both.
yeah, but I'm more spiritual than I'm psychological.
Okay,
So
I
yeah, so
apologise for that. Carry on.
yeah, so a spiritual Therian, basically, the best way I can describe it is I believe I believe in well, we believe in reincarnation. And to be Therian, that is means that, or to be a spiritual Therian, it means that you believe in reincarnation, but that in your past lives you weren't human.
Yeah,
So to be a spiritual Therian, it means that, for example, you could be a dog or in a past life, or you could be a meerkat, for example, in a
yeah.
past life.
Wh-
And then,
Whereas you seem to really like having labels on top of labels and understanding all the little minute kind of things between the different types. That stuff kind of confuses me and kind of goes over my head a bit. Um, whereas I much more take me as I am. I don't really use labels all that much because it just gets way too confusing and um like it's not realistic to um keep introducing yourself as everything that you identify as, you know?
yeah, so, yeah, so, um, where I like to talk about all my past lives, and because I've had quite a few, and um, so that get so to put that to the side, so that's what a spiritual Therian is. A psychological Therian basically means it's best way I can describe it is that it's kind of like you're living. Well, there's two parts to this, all right? There's two parts to a psychological Therian.
Yeah,
Is that it can be a past life of a past life
yeah,
that soul has attached to yours. So that's one part of psychological Therian. Or it could be that a soul of, say, a fox or I don't know, a mongoose or something. Two very different animals there, but but anyway, that you were meant to be um, that animal in that life, but instead your soul was born into a human,
okay.
and that is what a psychological Therian is. So basically, either it's a past life that's soul is fused with your own, or that it's you are basically born in the wrong body, and the soul that soul has merged with um, this human their human body.
If people want to know more, I will link your YouTube video where you go into much more detail
Yeah,
um, in the YouTube playback of this. Um,
and In terms of otherkin, though, so that's Therians. Otherkin is exactly the same. There's spiritual otherkin, and then there's psychological otherkin. Otherkin can be cast loads of different branches. Um, so there's a term called alter human. So I'll be talking more about this. I've got a Therian channel that I've not really added to yet, but I will be in the future.
Right.
So there's a
Well,
term called
when you
alter.
do,
There's a
I'll
Yeah,
add that into your list of things that's currently above your head, which
yeah.
you'll see when you watch this back.
Well, thank you. Yeah, so alter human is basically the umbrella term, like for Therians and otherkin. So otherkin is basically best way I can describe otherkin is so with Therians it's things like foxes, wolves, meerkats, sheep, for example. Um, but with otherkin, it's things like vampires and werewolves and kitsunes and dragons, things like that.
So
Um,
it's more mythical.
yeah, or mythical or animals that aren't of this world or this reality.
Okay. I, I,
So
I would just lump all of that in as being mythical. So you see where things get confusing. Like you know way more of the tiny di- differences between all of them, and I kind of only know so much because if I go right into it, it gets really confusing and hurts my brain. So yeah. Anyway, I'm
so
just
if you want
be
to know
gone.
if you want to know what exactly I identify as, I'll tell you now. So Shadow um, is basically what you all know me as. Shadow is an Arctic fox, red fox hybrid. And then I have another, go by another name as well called Boulder. Spelt like the rock, so Boulder.
Hmm.
And a Boulder's part of my life is a timber wolf. And then I've got Topaz, who's a kitsune. That was my kitsune life. Then had a Corsac fox life, and I'm also Chase, which is a snow tie lie leogar. And a tie lie leogar basically is one parent was a snow leopard, and the other parent was a tie liger, which is basically a tie liger is the sibling of a tiger and a liger.
Okay. Um, I just
Um,
want to kind of wrap this bit up because we could just keep talking about it, but we've got other stuff. And
I,
cause
I've just I've just got a few more things to say, and then I'll stop.
okay,
I'm also a singer, a winged wolf pup. I'm also questioning a dragon or red panda, and I'm also um, debating whether. But actually, I think I have discovered that I'm a fiction kin barn. So I'll explain fiction kin in a future episode.
well I'll say this now. I can totally see where the barn owl thing has come from. Um, it's probably to do with why you're reading the book series that you talked about last week, which
And it's basically awoken something in me by reading it.
yeah, which tends to happen with you. Um, whereas me, I kind of know all of mine, which I don't really want to share, because
And
you know them, but it's a side of me that I don't really tell people much about. Um, but there you go. You were concerned about bringing this up when I first mentioned it when we were texting. So if anybody has any hate to give to either of us, you're on my channel and it'll come to me and I will just block you and get on with my day. So um, Shadow will never see any of the hate. Um, so just don't even try. Because I will not let any um, get get through because I'm very protective of people that I care about. So
Thank you.
and I use the term people in the loosest possible term there. So anyway, um, is there anything else that you're wanting to talk about?
That was the only thing I planned to talk about. Other
Okay,
than that, I finished watching Bates Motel.
excellent. Right, I'll talk about the books stuff, and then we'll talk about Bates Motel,
All
and
right.
that
Okay.
should take us until the end of the time that we have. So, as you know, last week I was reading The Big Four by Agatha Christie. I have since finished that, and I am currently on the Mystery of the Blue Train, and it's a shame that you can't see my edition right now, Shadow. Um, but I think I might have shown you it throughout the week. I'm not sure. But it's on my Instagram if you were wanting to check it out. Or I could just show you after the live stream. It really doesn't matter. But the big thing about this one is um, it's took 70 pages for the detective to appear, and I can never say his name right, so I apologise for that. Um, Pyro, which I know is totally wrong, but it's the closest way that I can say it. Um, so deal with it. um, yeah, he has only just came into the story, and the one thing I don't like about it, like this is um, across all of the books by Agatha Christie that I've read so far, her chapters have like a subheading giving you hints as to what's going to come in that particular chapter. And the chapter that I've stopped at in this book is called The Murder. So I know exactly what's going to happen in this next chapter, you know? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I knew that it was coming anyway, because usually it happens right at the beginning, or um, it's like multiple ones happen throughout, which is what happened in the case of the Big Four. The Big Four, it was like um, 4 or 5 short stories, which were like individual cases, but the one thing that tied them all together was the crime syndicate, the Big Four, which, as I said last week, it put me in the mindset of the Alex Rider books with the kind of mob boss type organization within those books. Um,
Uh-huh.
and in between um, last week's show and now, he has got back to me, which I think I did tell you when it did happen. But
Yes, you did. Yeah.
for the sake of the stream, I'm gonna say it. He said that um, the a potential influence from the Agatha Christie book to his uh, might have been in the back of his mind, but he couldn't give me a straightforward yes or no because my guess is it's just not something that he's consciously thought about. So
It, it could
that
be a
was
legal stance as well. You couldn't say yes or no, like maybe for copyright reasons.
maybe, but I think most people don't really know where their inspiration comes from for things. It's just there, you know. Um,
Hmm.
and that's kind of how I'm taking what he said. So that was awesome. And the reason why I was making a big fuss about my particular edition of the Mystery of the Blue Train is my edition is so old. There is no barcode and there's no ISBN number, so I can't log this book on Goodreads. Um, which is a good job that I'm using the story graph as well, which you can see my story graph information just above my head um, on the live stream. So feel free to come and add me on there. I'll just follow anybody on there. I'm not too fussy. Um, I had to add this to the story graph manually, and that's something Goodreads doesn't let you do. It's just really outdated, and it just shows how out of touch Amazon is. Um, so it's looking like this is going to be my last year using Goodreads, and like this year I'm technically using both the Storygraph and um, Goodreads to log my book reading, but as I was able to add this book to the story graph, granted I had to take a photo of my book for the listing on the story graph. In a matter of about 10 minutes, somebody on the staff side of the story graph found a much better, cleaner image of the book cover and updated that on my listing, if that's the right word for it. So I thought that was awesome. Like, it really shows how the Storygraph is for readers and not just to give a massive corporation free reviews. And yeah, I've gone right off of Amazon. Um, I do realise the irony that I'm saying that on Twitch, which is owned by Amazon. But yeah, I'm not using Amazon owned sites as much as I was. I've cancelled Amazon Prime because they had this whole thing within the UK of stopping using Visa credit cards to pay for the Amazon
They've
Prime for the year.
backtracked on that one. They've backtracked on that.
I was just about to say that, which they have backtracked, but they've only backtracked because I bet you so many people have done what I've done and cancelled their subscription. So my thinking is it's hurt them where it counts, and I'm not going back. You know, that's my
Hmm.
thinking, which is part of the reason why I've decided to get Disney Plus instead. Granted, Disney's not much better because they're an evil company as well, but you know, if you have that mindset of that for every organization, you will just not buy anything or do anything ever. So, yeah, you've got to pick and choose which battles you want to fight. So,
Yeah.
that's all I've got to say about that. And yeah, that's the last thing on my notes. So, was there anything else?
No, that's it. I think with me.
Awesome. We've actually managed to stay within the time frame. Um, Again, I apologize for the 20 minutes or so where you guys couldn't hear Shadow. That was completely down to my fault. I didn't click the desktop audio. Um, it's just the fact that I couldn't get my um, camera to come through on Zoom that completely threw me. Um, so um, I'm hoping next week it'll be fine. I don't know what the issue was. I did turn my computer off and turn it back on before going live to see if that fixed it, because 9 times out of 10, that's what the issue is. Um, so it's just one of those things, unfortunately. Um,
So hopefully it'll be sorted for next week.
Fingers crossed, yes. I just feel really bad because like it's 20 minutes of talking about a show and they're only getting one side of it from me. But it couldn't be helped because I messed up. Um, but yeah. Oh, I've just thought of something. The disability representation in Malcolm in the Middle. The guy who plays Stevie. It's never said what his disability is. It's
No, I would have assumed it was cerebral palsy or spina bifida.
I would have said spina bifida because they do make reference to the fact that he can't feel
Hydro-
his legs, but the way that he talks, um, nobody with asthma actually talks like that.
no,
So that was purely played for laughs, and um, the guy is an able-bodied person. Um, that role should have went to somebody with a disability. Um,
and but as ever, they never are really. But having said that though, that show that I was talking about last week on Peacock, what did I say it was called? Um, NBC Disabled. What was it called? Uh, Disabled comedy. No, it's not NBC Disabled series. Ordinary Joe. Yeah, so Ordinary Joe has a real disabled character in it, a real wheelchair user.
right. I've just remembered you said you were going to talk about Bates Motel.
I'll talk about that next week.
Okay, fair enough.
Just run
Giving
out of time.
people a bit of a um, tease there.
Yeah. And I
I
might actually talk about Ordinary Joe as well if I can finish off watching the first season.
Awesome. Yeah, so I'm gonna be watching more Malcolm in the Middle. Um, Even though I've got the DVDs, I'm just gonna stick with Disney Plus. Um, I've more got the DVDs as a backup, um,
Mm-hmm.
as a thing to have on my shelf because I'm old school like that and like to have the physical thing. I just wish that they'd put it out on Blu-ray. But it's not gonna happen. So Anyway, that's going to be it for today's show, and we will see you
Uh,
next week.
and we hope you had a really good time.
I can't believe you did that every time.
Well, you get used to it. It's my thing.
I'm going to say that every single time.
All right then. Bye.